Stephanie, and we will be doing Project Deep Dive. Oh, Deep Drive. Deep Drive. That's supposed to say dive. And mock judging sessions. Okay? We are coining that. We're going to go with that. We're going to term this a new thing where we're going to deep drive. Okay? So, I'm going to continue stalling until people find seats and go to their sessions. Looks like we're just about done stalling. All right, so to begin, I'm going to go ahead and play a short little video about the project. Most of you may have seen this, but I will play it again just for those who have not. Oh.
Welcome to part 2 of our 3-part series on the first LEGO League Global Challenge release. I'm Michelle Long. This year's challenge, Trash Trek. We ask first LEGO League participants to learn about what happens to our trash. The challenge is made up of 2 components, the project and the robot game, all guided by our signature core values. Now, let's go to project manager Janelle Chouanier. Janelle, what can you tell us about this year's project?
Michelle, we all make trash. I'm here at a sorting facility because this is one of the many places trash can end up. Where your trash goes might depend on what it's made of, what facilities exist in your community, and, most importantly, the choices you make when you're done with an item.
So when you say we all make trash, can you tell us a bit more about what you mean?
For the Trash Trek Challenge, trash is any item you are done with and want to dispose of. Whether it's an old pen, ruined clothing, food scraps, or something completely different, we all make some kind of trash. Of course, we're not asking you to solve all trash problems. For your project, choose a problem that means something to your team. You'll have more fun learning about trash and designing your solution if you pick something you care about. Now, it's important to know that there are a couple of exceptions. For the Trash Trek project, sewage, like wastewater, and gases, like car exhaust, are not acceptable trash items.
That makes sense. Is there anything else that teams should know about the project before they get started?
Just make sure you remember the 3 essential components of any first LEGO League project. Identify your problem and learn about it, create an innovative solution, and share it with someone outside of your team. Every team needs to complete those 3 steps. You can find more details in the complete Trash Trek Challenge document.
Thanks, Janelle. And teams, don't forget to read that document to learn all about this year's challenge. Next up, the Trash Trek robot game.
Okay, so as that video said, the project covers the research element for the FLL Challenge. Okay, now the project is super a million supers important, because if you do not complete the project, you are not eligible for awards. Okay, so if you do not complete the 3 elements that satisfy the project requirements, then you are not eligible for awards. Okay, now, in case you didn't hear me, if you do not complete the 3 elements that satisfy the project requirements, you did not complete the award. Okay, or you are not eligible for any awards. Any. None. Nada. Finito. Okay? Don't do that to your kids. Just make sure they finish it. Okay? So, you have to identify a problem. Okay? It has to be related to the challenge theme. This year, you have to choose a piece of trash and identify a problem with how it is currently handled. Okay? No sewage. No water waste. She said that. Those are the exceptions. Okay? No toilets. No. No. If it's gross, no. But trash, okay? Trash, we have to figure out a problem and innovate a solution. That is your challenge, okay? You have to design an innovative solution by modifying something that already exists or implementing a new idea. All right, so we want the kids to innovate. We want them to explore what options are out there. We want them to learn and design and create, okay? Then you have to share that with others. You have to go out into the community, ask somebody who is in charge of whatever they're researching. If they're researching trash collection, go out to the public utilities management people. Okay? If they are doing, I don't know, beach littering, okay, then go out and ask the people who have expertise in that. Okay? Go and share what you're learning, ask questions, then present to them what your innovative solution was. Okay? And then after that, once they have completed all of this and they get to their tournament, they're going to share that with the judges. Okay? So, any person who did not help with your project at all should be able to identify the problem very clearly, know what the solution is, and figure out who your team shared it with. If your team does not answer those 3 questions in their judging session, okay, the judges will ask questions, but if the judges feel like those 3 questions were not answered, I have to disqualify your team. I hate disqualifying teams. Don't make me do that. It's the worst thing ever. Nobody wants to go up to the kids and be like, yeah, you can't get any awards. Okay? I hate doing that. Don't make me do that. Okay? So, identify a problem, come up with a solution, share it with people. Okay? 3 things. 3. Okay. So example research topics that are good to pursue are plastics. So how are water bottles recycled? What happens to plastic bags once they get used? Okay. Food scraps. If I eat a banana, what happens to the peel? What about the chicken bones? Because nobody eats the bones. You can't give them to dogs because most of the times they're too small. What happens to them? Okay. Clothing items, I missed one. Old school supplies and old items that, like maybe it's a dried out pen. I can't write with it anymore, but what happens when I throw it into the trash? Or an old textbook or an old notebook? What happens to all those items? And clothes. A lot of people don't realize that clothes can be recycled. Okay, your old clothes, like maybe you have like a hole in your pants, and obviously you can't wear that in public anymore. And maybe your wife won't let you wear that at home anymore because she is tired of you looking grubby. Okay? What do you do with those pair of pants? If you can't sew them up, what happens to them? Okay? So we want the kids to explore these different topics. All right? You cannot do sewage. It's gross. Okay? But it's also one of the exceptions that they said, nope, sorry, you can't do it. We want to limit you to different stuff. Okay? You also can't do gases. So anything that comes out of your car, anything that's produced out of some chemical reaction, you can't do it. It's a limitation that has been set by people above us. You can't do it. Okay? Helpful tips for the project portion. Start early. Okay, and really emphasize with your kids that this is just as important, if not more, as the robot. I get that the kids all want to work on the robot, okay, but the project has to get done too, and everybody on the team has to have enough knowledge about the project to help present. Okay, it doesn't help if like 2 people did the project and nobody else on the team did the project. Everybody should be part of it. You're a team. Distribute the weight evenly. Okay. Use the project resources provided in the challenge release documents. All right? They give you a lot of information. Use it. Use it. It is so helpful. In addition to that, we have a whole bunch of documentation on CVR on the website. So just make sure that you use it. Okay? Take the project as far as the kids want to go. If they want to build an actual prototype and they want to build it, you can't talk them out of it. Don't try to talk them out of it. Let them do it, okay? If they want to build a machine that sorts out water bottles out of waste, let them do it. Let them see how far they can take it. And when they get stuck, help nudge them over that hurdle, okay? And then finally, plan the project presentation as simple as possible, okay? It is super great that your kids wanted to bring a projector and they want to bring a slide because they want to look super professional, but you have 5 minutes with the judges, and that's probably not practical. Okay, so my advice to you is rely as little as you can on electronics and just do something simple and easy, because you don't want a whole bunch of flustered kids going into that session where they have 1 shot and 5 minutes to do it. Okay, so plan it as simple as possible. Okay, that being said, if they want to bring in a laptop, I mean, We're not going to tell them that they can't bring it in. I'm just highly discouraging you from doing that. Okay, there is one thing that I need to mention that is super important. Okay, you cannot you cannot have a pre-recorded presentation. You can't like record your kids at home doing the whole 5-minute presentation, come into the judging session, pull out the laptop and go boop. Okay, you can't do that. That defeats the purpose of the whole project thing, because you can try it over and over and over again, and it's not fair, and it will get you disqualified. So do not pre-record your presentation. Just don't use video. That's my best advice to you. Just don't use video at all. Okay? Okay, so I have instructed my high school team. I run a robotics team. I have instructed them to come up with a very fake project. Okay? Now, the idea was thrown out there. All of the data is fake. Okay? They're going to talk to you about people that do not exist, so do not take any of what they're saying as like actual data. Okay? They're not going to have $3 trillion savings with their project, and they're not going to have everybody getting a puppy, okay, as part of their project. But they're going to come up and they're going to show you guys what a project session should look like, okay? Now, they probably don't have all of the scripts memorized because they kind of just did this yesterday. But your kids should have it memorized. So if they're reading, excuse them. Your kids should not read. Okay. Ladies, go ahead and come up here. So this is, their team is the Recyclones. And they are going to tell you about their problem. Yeah, that's right.
Hi, judges. We're the Recyclones, and we're here to tell you about our helpful drones. We did some research and discovered that removing waste from rural homes is expensive and difficult. The amount of time it takes to collect garbage from just one rural home is the same as the amount of time it takes to collect garbage from an entire urban area. But that's okay, because that statistic is made up. We knew as an FLL team that the best way to work around all those man hours was to create and use automated robots, just like our FLL robots.
Our custom-made Recyclone drones will fly to people's houses and remove crates of household waste in much the same way as Amazon uses drones to deliver packaging. In the outlying community of the Clovis foothills in Central Valley, these flying robots could save hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. We went and met with May Dubb at the Fresno Public Utilities, and they said that an invention like this could change the way not only the Clovis community views waste, but the entire world. With the help of the Clovis North Robotics team, we've developed a computer-aided design model of our prototype, which we hope to have built and working soon.
This is our action plan for garbage reduction and cost reduction, and we call this FRADIS, or Flying Remote Assistance Trash Evacuation System. The problem is that rural trash collection is way too expensive. By expensive, I mean it's nearly $1 billion to pick up trash. The current collection system is too costly, and we have a negative carbon footprint. As you can see by our graph, the farther away you get from the urban area, and the closer you get to rural, the higher the garbage collection costs grow, reaching nearly $1 billion.
The solution to our problem is to use drones to pick up trash. By using drones, it's 600% cheaper, 80% cooler, and 20% faster. There's $3 trillion annual savings, a 500% reduction in carbon footprint, and everybody gets a puppy. May Dubb liked our product so much that we got a 10-year contract, and that's our team with the Fresno Public Utilities. And this is our drone. These are the propellers, and this is what we're going to use to pick up trash with right here.
Thank you. Thank you.
That in total was just a little under the 5-minute mark. Okay, so what did they do really, really well? Let's see. Okay, so what was their problem? Can you clearly identify what the problem was? trash collection, right? Trash collection in rural areas, okay? So that was simple for us to identify. Okay, the solution was their drone to collect trash, okay? And who did they share it with? Made up. Get it? Made up. Okay, from Fresno Public Utilities. Okay, they went out and they shared it with her, and she gave them a 10-year contract, okay? So they satisfied all 3 requirements, okay? On top of that, their presentation was very streamlined. Everybody shared. Now, I get that there was only 2 kids on that FLL team, okay? But everybody had a chance to talk, okay? They had actual fake data, okay? And they had graphs documenting what they researched. On their actual chart, they cited the fake websites that they got their fake research from, okay? So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a very well-rounded and very well-documented project and presentation, okay? Do we have any questions so far? No? Yeah? No? Yeah? No? Okay. I will move on then. Okay, so the recyclones hit everything on that checklist. So that would have been one of the top teams that we would have seen. That would have been a really strong contender, okay? The one thing that they could have improved upon was they didn't really tell us what method of trash collection is out there. I mean, they touched on the point that it's a lot more expensive than what is being done for the urban areas, but they didn't elaborate on, is it used, is there a truck that is being used? Is the truck the same truck that has to go out to the urban areas? They didn't elaborate on what current solution is being used. So that's something that they could have worked on, okay? What else? They probably could have slowed down their talking just a little bit. And I think that's all I had. Oh, go ahead. So you have the option to leave any project materials with the judges, but a lot of the judges, they'll ask questions, and there's 2 judges per room. Usually one will be asking questions and taking notes, and the other one will be looking at the stuff or flipping through whatever documentations that you give them. My best suggestion for you is if you have a big poster, because it's kind of hard for us to store all of the big posters, take a picture of it or shrink it down or copy all of that data onto a flyer and hand that to the judge. Because then they can look at that and they can annotate it and they can keep that with their rubrics. Because the big poster is kind of hard, So that would be my best recommendation for you. Any other questions? Oh, go ahead. Yes. So the presentation that they do does not satisfy the sharing requirement. They have to actually go out into the community and share it. So this team in specific went out to Fresno Public Utilities and met with MadeUp. Okay, so if your team wanted to go out to Recycling USA, I don't know if that's an actual company, but they would have to go out and actually meet with people and share what they're doing in order to satisfy the sharing requirement. They can do that at their school with an actual company, with if they want to throw a fair and invite everybody from the community and do it there, that's fine. That would satisfy the requirement. Any other questions? No? Okay. Okay, so key takeaways. Again, I'm just going to drill this in. Okay, you need to ask yourself, what is the problem? What is our problem? Okay, you can answer that question. Good job. Okay, what is our solution? Okay, you need to have a very clearly identified solution. Okay, did I share this within the community? Your kids should very clearly mention to the judges who they shared it with. Give names, show pictures. Okay, just tell us who you shared it with. Okay, you should use as little complexity as possible. If they want to make a poster, that's fine, that's perfect, that's what we want. Okay, if they want to do a PowerPoint slide, sure, have at it. But if something goes wrong, you need to prepare your kids for a worst case scenario. Take the Michael Phelps route of coaching, okay? His coach would have him drive late to practice, specifically ruin everything. He would take his goggles away for practice so that he had to practice under the worst case scenario so that if something went wrong in the Olympics, he was prepared. Do that with your kids. I know it probably sounds mean, but Prepare them for everything. Prepare them for distractions. Have them present with like people banging pots, okay, so that they have to power through that distraction. Have them present in many, many different scenarios. Now, the scenario that they will present at the competition will not have banging pots. It will be a very quiet room with very little distractions. But prepare them for that. Prepare them for everything going wrong. Anything that can go wrong, prepare them for that. Prepare them for if they forget the poster so that they know how to present without it. Prepare them that if the laptop dies, they know what to do. Okay? Have them prepared for every single scenario. Okay? Go ahead. Yeah, so a good way to show the judges your research is a bibliography would be perfect. That would be like a stellar team. If they want to just make a binder of all of the research that they did, that's great too. If they like found newspaper articles, clip them out, put them in your book, print out the websites, create a bibliography, have them cited on your project poster or on your PowerPoint slides. Just make sure that you are telling the judges, here's the research that we did, here's the websites that we hit. That way they know. And like reach past Wikipedia. I mean, Wikipedia is easy, but go for actual like government sites, .orgs, credible sources, so that you're getting the best facts, the best quality facts that you can get. Yeah? Okay, any other questions so far? Oh, go ahead. Let me think of how to phrase that question, because we have to reiterate the question for the video. So your question was, do you have to have a professional within the community, or can you share it with just members of the community? The answer is yes. You can share it with members of the community, and that's fine. Like we had some teams that would present during a school rally or a school assembly. That's sharing. That is sharing within your community. That satisfies that requirement. If you want to share it with a professional, that is satisfying the requirement. That is totally fine. So, yes, I think was the answer.
I just wanted to add something about the last question you answered about the bibliography and sharing the research with the judges. This year, as part of the materials that first put out with the project for the kickoff, or for the when they released the challenge, they also released a separate document of just online resources for the teams to use. So when you're looking for ways to get beyond Wikipedia, like Stephanie said, I highly recommend using that document that first provided with all those resources. And then as well, the expert panel that's going to be in here next, some of those people are going to be providing local resources online, and we're going to be hosting those things on the CVR website.
The last thing that we want to mention is pay attention to the exceptions. Remember, those are like sewage and gas. Can't do that. No. Okay, so just make sure that your kids, and I'm really having a hard time, maybe there's a kid out there that's like, yeah, guys, let's figure out what happens to our sewage. I'm having a really hard time seeing that there would be that kid, but if there is, sorry, buddy. Can't happen. Can't do it. Okay, and then lastly, have fun. This program is super dependent on fun because, as with all things in life, if it is not fun, why are you doing it? If you are not enjoying yourself, why are you out there? Okay, so make sure that the kids are having fun, that they're not taking things too seriously. I mean, they should apply themselves, but they should also have fun. It shouldn't be like a research, like a thesis for your master's, okay? These are kids. They should have fun with it, okay? So, if there are any more questions, go ahead. No. So they do not have to memorize their presentation, but it is better if they have it memorized because then the kids feel more confident than if they're reading it off of a paper. Also, the delivery is much more organic and natural to the judges. If you're reading it from a paper, you don't get the natural inflections of their voice. So, they don't have to memorize it. What I like to say to the teams is don't give them a script to memorize. Give them topics that they have to cover and let them come up with the words that they want to say. Because if they have a script to memorize and they like fumble the script a little bit, some kids get really flustered at that. So if you tell them, you need to cover these 3 points, figure out how you're going to say it, and then have them practice it over and over and over and over and over again, they will come up with a very natural sounding script. Okay. Go ahead. So you have for larger teams, every student should have the opportunity to present during the project. Every kid should talk. Now, we tell our judges that like there are those very rare cases where we have kids that are like super shy and don't want to talk. They should at least talk a little bit during or participate during the presentation, and then they'll be asked questions. And we tell the kids like if there's a kid that like really just doesn't he doesn't want to answer, like the judges know to like it's okay, it's probably like something else that you don't know about. They'll know to like move on. But try to get your kids to participate and to be engaged and active in the presentation and in the project. Everybody should do something for the project. Any other questions? No? Any other things you think that we should reiterate?
Well, 2 things I guess that I can add. One, I said it in the last session, but the season standards manual that CVR puts out, it's a document that's available on our website. It outlines step by step everything that you need to know about being a coach in our region, including event day expectations and what happens in and around the judging rooms. It's the best document that you can read to make sure that you're fully prepared with your team for those judging sessions. And the other thing, Gary is right here. Gary, raise your hand. Gary is the volunteer coordinator for Central Valley Robotics. Please talk to him at some point today. Tell him that you want to be a judge at an event. It's the absolute best way to get a feel for how the judging works from the other side of the table. I'm sure people who are here can attest to that if you go to an event and you judge, you get a totally different perspective on what the kids are going to be going through and how it works, and it makes you a way better coach. So I recommend everybody come out and volunteer. Plus, it helps the other events because we need judges.
Right. It's super, super important. Also, I should probably reiterate, I believe Michael touched on this earlier, but for the project, parents and spectators are no longer allowed inside of the project rooms with the coaches. Only the coaches with valid coach badges that are unmodified are allowed in the room with the kids. So I feel like I should say that again because I feel like people are going to not remember that. Yeah.
It's also outlined in the season standards manual.
It is indeed. I think it's bolded, in fact.
It might be.
Yeah.
Underlined, bolded,
We
asterisk,
like bolding
italics.
stuff. It just adds more flair. Yeah. All right. Any other questions? Yeah. Mhm. So as I have reiterated the important things many, many times for coaches, I do that for judges. I reiterate that parents can help carry stuff that is like physically impossible for those little kids to carry. Like if it's a huge drum, we're obviously not going to have your kids bring that in. They can carry it. And I reiterate it over and over and over and over and over again. Okay. Now, if the judge understands that, great. But if they don't, I reiterate it over and over and over and over and over again.
I think the best thing is to be proactive.
Yeah.
If you know that you have a material in your project presentation that a coach is going to have to carry, find somebody in the event staff, find the tournament coordinator, the head judge, and say, hey, this is my team number. I'm going to be carrying something in. It's heavy. Please let our project judges know so that they don't freak out. If you're proactive, then we know about it and there can't be any issues with it.
Yes. But if you like come to us after the fact, sometimes we don't catch I reiterate it, but sometimes the judge is like still kind of like, I don't know if you can do that. I mean, we tell them, but
well, and if there's an issue after at the beginning of the judging session, we can't go back and fix a project session that got off on the wrong foot.
Yeah.
So it's much better to
tell us
keep
ahead
that
of
away
time.
from the kids and just handle it beforehand.
Also, you should have like no interaction with like any judges. The roles for this tournament are flipped. You are the child, basically. You should be seen and not heard. Okay? That's literally what you should do. Don't like engage the judge. And like if you get like angry, like if you do happen to get like the very rare judge that was ignoring all of my comments, because this does happen. Very, 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 very rarely, like 0.000% of the time, we do get that one judge that just does not like to listen. And I'm pretty good at spotting them. I'm pretty good at relocating them. But if it does happen, don't engage the judge. If you get like a judge on a power trip that's like, no, you can't bring that in there. I'm sorry, you're disqualified. Okay, just come to me. Don't like argue with the judge, because then that's a core values violation, and then I really do have to disqualify you. But talk very calmly to me or whoever the head judge or any of the CVR staff about it. And if you talk to us very calmly, then chances are we can figure out what actually happened and what the appropriate method of action is. But if you get all mad, I gotta disqualify you. Sorry.
Yeah. And since Stephanie's talking about that also, I don't think that this is going to be an issue,
Yeah.
but please, the judges are often part of the award ceremony because they're volunteers. Don't approach them afterwards and ask them questions about what happened with the team. If you have a question about judging, ask the head judge or the tournament coordinator. Don't ask the judges, because what happens in the deliberation area stays in the deliberation area.
It's like Vegas, but without the fun. Sorry. Okay, any other questions? Oh, go ahead.
It's an online training process for judges that they're required to go through. It's not extremely time-consuming, I'd say. I mean, if you're familiar with the program, you could probably do it in about an hour. If you're less familiar and you have to go through it a little bit more, it's a video and question and answer type thing. And then we have online judge training now. We're no longer doing the in-person one, so there's no in-person commitment prior to the event.
Yeah. I mean, for your time commitment for that, like he said, if you're familiar with it, you can probably breeze through it in like an hour. If you are not as familiar with it, it will probably take you like at most 3 to 4 hours, and you can segment that up. You don't have to do all of the training in one sitting. Most of the judges do, but you don't have to. The judges are pretty thoroughly trained, and then they get day of training as well, where I reiterate stuff over and over and over again. And then they get drop-bys, where I go room by room to make sure that they're doing it, and I reiterate stuff over and over and over again. And then they have a flyer that's printed out and a handbook that's printed out that has the stuff that I reiterate over and over and over again. So there's training. If you want to volunteer, it's not extremely difficult.
And you will get a sweet volunteer shirt,
Yeah.
a meal,
Yeah.
and to restore your faith in humanity by watching all these awesome kids talk about cool stuff for an entire day.
It's pretty true. You go home feeling like very underachieving.
I've never met anybody who can sit in a room and get presented to by FLL teams and not leave with a smile on their face. It's impossible.
It's true. And our top comment is, I did nothing with my childhood. I was very underaccomplished. These kids are stellar. I am a failure at life. And now it's like a good kind of failure at life, because you're like, wow, our future is in good hands. But it's also kind of like, man, I did nothing with my life. Did he mention the sweet shirt? I mean, it's pretty stylish.
It is a sweet shirt. It's got the it's got the logo. It's got our logo.
Yeah.
You could draw your logo if you have one.
You can wear it out to dinner. You can get married in it. You can, I don't know. You can do stuff. Yeah. Okay, if there's any other questions, if not, we'll set you free on the lunch and snack buffet.
It's not lunch yet.
Oh, well then we'll set you free on the snack buffet. You can think about lunch. I see the taco truck out there.
You can also buy previous year's sweet volunteer shirts in the back at that table.
They're cool. You can wear them to dinner. You can get married in them.
In a pinch, they can be used as a flotation device.
Isn't it sad that I kind of want to get married in them? It'll be my something old. Sorry. Okay, you're free.
We need to stop talking.
Yeah, we do. I don't know why they trust us with mics.